I'm here to talk about the airport tonight. Let me start out by telling you that I support the building of a new terminal in Burbank, and I'd like to tell you that my comments are really about the process and what I think it will take to get the support of the people of Burbank and what it should take. First, let me say that even though your agenda calls for a potential decision on this term sheet tonight, I would urge you very, very strongly not to make a decision tonight. The term sheet came out last week. There have been promises over the years about large public outreach efforts, and that just hasn't happened on this set of terms, and I think it needs to happen. And if you don't do it, that'll be an area that you'll be subjected to criticism for, and that will be a potential drag on a vote. People won't vote for it if they don't feel they had a say in it. There are not very many people here tonight really talking about the airport, and the importance of a potential vote on a term sheet like this that's as specific as this, I think is much greater than the turnout, and that should tell you something. So take a little time, have more public discussion, and do that piece correctly. I would urge you to support the concept of meeting with the FAA. That's something that should have been going on continuously, but renewing that effort is a good thing, and you should absolutely do that. So there's 2 items on your agenda. You could support one and defer on another one to allow for more outreach. You know that I've disagreed with the process that you're following. I personally, I was the author of Measure B. I think Measure B said pretty clearly that the public should weigh in before the council. And it clearly took the decision-making out of the council's hands and put it into the public's hands. And that's nothing personal. It wasn't even this council when that was adopted. It was a concept. And I think what you're proposing to do is not in agreement with the concept that Measure B, that the public would weigh in first. I've got a memo from the city attorney that talks about the difference between the word prior and previously. I don't see a difference. I think the real question is, in the measure, it uses the word prior, and in the adopted code, it uses the word previously. And when the city attorney outlined the process, she said the vote would take place after the council approved all of this stuff. And there's a difference between after and prior or previously. I think a significant one. And it's not just a matter of semantics. I think it's a matter of how you get the trust of the people. And if you have done a formal agreement and granted that as a council prior to that, I think you're going to have a harder time convincing people that you listened to what Measure B said, which was let the people weigh in first. I think what you should be doing tonight and in this process is agreeing with the airport authority on what language you would put before the voters. And I could imagine that language being close to the term sheet that you're looking at tonight. What you should be doing is negotiating with the airport on what would be required to gain your support so that you tell the community you think the deal is a good one and they should approve it. What you shouldn't be doing is granting formal approval to an airport terminal project without having the public weigh in prior to that. And that's what's contemplated in the term sheet tonight. The term sheet talks about vested rights. I'd love you to have a little discussion about what vested rights are. At minimum, that term sheet should say vested rights subject to, and that those rights only vest when there is actually approval. I assume you're going to do that, but it doesn't say that in your term sheet. So if you have someone discussing that with the public, they're going to tell you, look, the council is granting vested rights, and they don't have the right to do that. They shouldn't be doing that without the public weighing in. maybe it's a matter of semantics and a matter of process. I don't think so. I think there are some things behind that are pretty important. The other thing that you're going to be doing if you approve the term sheet as it is tonight, and this is a really important one, you're going to be giving approval to a project without the information on the impacts. And I'm amazed that you would consider that. Ms. Gabeletti, as a planner, I know you would never have asked anybody in a decision-making position, to vote on a project or approve a project without knowing what the impacts are. And you only know what the impacts are when the environmental review is completed. And you don't have that. You may have some preliminary stuff on traffic. I'll tell you what it says. It says congestion is coming. And just as a closing thought, there are going to be hearings. I want you to think about what you're going to tell the residents when you invite them to those hearings, when you've signed on to a term sheet that says you're going to approve the project that would be the subject of those hearings. It's not the right process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Golonski. Okay, any other speakers?